WSAV is your local election headquarters, and today Edward got a chance to sit down with Congressman Buddy Carter as he makes his bid to keep his seat in the U.S. House.
Yeah, Tina, I talked with Carter about several issues important to the voters here in the 1st Congressional District. Take a look at our conversation. All right, Congressman, I want to thank you for joining us here on First News at 4. Appreciate you stopping by. So let's jump right into it. The Democrats who are vying for the nomination to run against you, a couple of weeks ago, they were in their own debate. We posed a question to them that I'd like for you to answer as well. So what do you believe the most pressing issue facing the 1st District is, and what do you plan to do about it, especially if Republicans win control of the House?
Well, first of all, the most pressing issue for people in the 1st District is probably the most pressing issue for all Americans, and that is inflation. And the value of the dollar has fallen so much. The prices have gone up so much. And it's a direct result of the policies of this administration. Let's face it. Elections have consequences because policies have consequences, and we are suffering the consequences of the policies of this administration. We see it every day. You see it in increased gas prices, increased prices for food, everything. People, the value of the dollar has gone down. People are making more, but they are actually taking home less. We've lost at least 2 paychecks every year as a result of nothing more than inflation. They're also concerned about crime. Crime in our cities, especially in our metropolitan areas, have become a serious problem. Here in the 1st Congressional District, of course, tourism is a big part of our district, and being able to get people to work again, because so much money has been put out by the federal government into our economy that people aren't going back to work. The participation rate is at one of the lowest levels that it has been. And of course, when you're talking about a service industry like tourism, you're talking about needing people and needing help. So that's a big part of our concerns as well. And the ports are always a big part of our economy.
Of course. Let's talk about student loans real quick. You posted on your Facebook page 3 days ago this post talking about the 1.4% drop in GDP. This last sentence there, and I don't know if people can see it on their screen, but you said that it is time to restart student loan payments. You also retweeted a tweet by Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy in opposition of canceling out student loan debt. So why is that your stance when clearly there are people, constituents, who are still struggling to pay their bills?
Well, we need to start back the payments on student loans. There's no question about that. It needs to start back, and it needs to start back as soon as possible. And no, I am not in favor of forgiveness of student loans. The 210 million people who don't have student loans, who didn't get to go to college, are supposed to pay for the 48 million people who did go to college. That's ludicrous to think. What about those of us who paid their way through college? And you know, you look at it, 48% of the people who have student loans, these are for post-secondary loans as well, doctors and lawyers, and that's great. I'm glad that people get those degrees. We need those people in our society. However, you can't expect those who didn't go to college, who don't have student loans, to pay for those loans and pay off those loans. I think that's irresponsible, and I don't think that should be the role of the government. Those people who took out those student loans, they're responsible for those loans. I didn't have to take out any student loans because I worked my way through college.
All right, I want to get to another topic, the January 6th insurrection.
Yes.
You were there. You have said it made you angry. Still that night, you voted not to certify the election results in favor of President Biden. One of your Democratic opponents said that's part of why he's running, that vote that you made. So do you still stand behind that vote, and if so, why?
Absolutely, I stand behind that vote because the Constitution did not change as a result of what happened on January 6th. The Constitution remained the same. I condemn what happened on January 6th. I've done it since day one, and I continue to do that. Those people should be arrested. They should be prosecuted. They should be given due diligence through the law, as all prisoners should be, as all people who are arrested should be, given their rights. But they should be prosecuted, and they should serve time for what they have done to the full extent of the law. That was wrong what they did, just as what happened in Minneapolis and in Portland the summer before was wrong. Those people, they should be prosecuted as well, given their due process through the process. But they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But my point is that changes were made to the voting laws here in the state of Georgia by the executive branch when our Constitution is clear that it should be and will be the right and the responsibility of the legislative branch to make those changes.
All right, Congressman Carter, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for stopping by, answering our questions. It's always nice to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.